Hello and Happy New Year, happy 2024. I thought I would start the year at a slower pace and begin with a chatty video. I have really enjoyed how much goal setting content, productivity, reflection, goals for the year, etc. content has been produced and shared. But I think more recently, I've become somewhat overwhelmed by it. I really enjoy goal setting. I'm definitely going to make those videos where I reflect on my achievements to date, but it has felt like there is so much noise, and I wanted to move away from that just for a moment to talk about something very specific in relation to that, and that is doing less and saying no to things in the hope that you can truly understand what it is that you like and enjoy and lean more into that. So before we get into it, if you are new here or if you've watched a few of my videos and have clearly been drawn back, please do subscribe, like, follow my content, follow the journey. There's so much I've been thinking about that I want to share, but there's also so much I feel like I have to give in terms of advice and learnings from my own personal journey. So please do follow along for that. So to start, although this isn't a goal setting video, something I really want to work on is my ability to see the value in doing less. Now, this is something I've been aware that I need to work on for quite a long time. In fact, stepping into my PhD, I very much knew that this would be a transition out of one way of working into a new way of working, and I thought for that reason I should stop doing the huge number of things I'm doing in one particular field and start to focus more so on my PhD and the skills that might bring me for whatever comes next. That being said, I think although I've had this intention, I have never really committed to it. It's definitely been lip service, hopefully up until this point. I stepped in thinking, I'm going to focus in on this, I'm going to become this person. And I just have this terrible habit of taking on a million and one things. And I won't talk about it in this video, but I'm sure there are loads of psychological reasons and loads of ideas around people pleasing and identity that mean people fall into that. It's something I really struggle with. And this has been clear to me for a very long time in so much PhD content, in so much of my social media. It's just always the case that it's like, oh, Éireann does this now. Oh, okay, like they're spending time doing this project. Oh, they've been doing this as well. I didn't know that. And although it doesn't surprise people and it doesn't surprise myself, it's not necessarily something I'm proud of. And I really want to work on it. Although it's always been clear, it became abundantly clear when last year, before the Christmas break, I went with Abigail to a workshop which was being run by the Career Service. And as part of this, what they did was they said, here are some categories you might want to consider in terms of building up your academic profile. These were research, teaching, and then academic service. And academic service was the kind of et al. Of it all. It was just the and more, or the things I often call PhD plus. And in filling that out, it became so visually clear that there's such a huge imbalance. So under research, I had my PhD, which, we must not forget is the reason I am at Cambridge. And then I had a research assistant position, which I'm really lucky to have and really enjoy. Then moving on to teaching, I was able to kind of fill that out by saying I supervise, and I'm a supervisor, or I was a supervisor last term for small group teaching on the foundation year, as well as one-to-one supervisions for students on the undergraduate education course. So cool, you got two things in each category, great. Then you move on to academic service, and oh my god, it was like full to the seams. It was like bleeding through. It was ridiculous, and it felt like this never-ending list of I'm a trustee, I sit on this ethics review board, I mentor students outside of the university, I offer pastoral support to undergraduates in the university, I this, and this. And it felt kind of silly because very few of those things explicitly prepare me for my next career and or the potential futures, you know, I would like to aim towards or aspire to. And even if they do, I've done so many of them before, so why am I going to like commit to them for another 3 years of my life? So for context, I have been doing kind of work in education and access for the last 10 years. I started as an undergraduate and decided what I liked and cared about very, very early on. And I've just been filling like my metaphorical bucket with all of these random volunteering opportunities or part-time jobs or extracurricular activities. In fact, on there were some that just weren't relevant at all, such as being the sports and societies officer for my college. And I'm not talking down on these opportunities. I'm not trying to, invalidate them or make it seem like they're not valuable. But there is no need for one person to do all of those things at the same time. And it's really, really hard to come to that realization when all we see is people being rewarded for doing a million and one things. Even, you know, at the end of 2023, where people say on LinkedIn, here's my 2023 wrapped, here's everything I've achieved. They were, oh my gosh, they were essays. And that's lovely, and I love reading those, and I love people's achievements. But it then makes you feel like, oh, well, I need to have achieved 10 things. I need to have this like never-ending list of everything I'm doing. And yeah, that's a lot of pressure. Even if no one's telling you to do that, you can really trick your mind in thinking that your value is dependent on that. So whilst no one has ever said to me, you need to be doing more, or you're not doing enough, or why aren't you like this person or that person, there is just this inherent belief that it is good to do loads of things. And for me, that comes through in like putting my hand up, volunteering for everything, applying for everything, just being so annoyingly present at every initiative or project. And yeah, it's something I'm going to work on. I guess moving forward, I do have a few tips I'd like to share that I have employed over kind of the last 6 months to really work on this, and hopefully this is a helpful part of the video where there are tips that you can take away. The first thing I would say is really challenging perhaps the impulsive drive to just say yes to things, and sometimes people ask you something and you say yes, but sometimes you're not being asked directly, but you're still putting yourself forward. So that can be seeing a call out for volunteers, or being asked in a meeting, would you like to lead on this? And I know for those of you watching who are graduate students or aspiring graduate students, it can be really difficult when it is a senior academic telling you this would look really good for your CV. This would be a great way to network with this person. It really imparts into you that, you should be doing this because somebody senior has said that to you. But whatever the question looks like, whether it is, a call out, a direct ask, or even just you thinking about something, you should really put a wait time on your response. So if in that meeting someone says, hey, do you want to lead on this? It is completely okay. In fact, it's respectable in my opinion to say, let me look at my schedule, let me look at my commitments for the month and I'll get back to you on that. It is also okay, even if no one has asked you directly, but you have seen a call out, for you to say, I'm going to save that tab, or I'm going to open it, or I'm going to make a note of it. And if in 24 hours, if in 48 hours, I still feel really strongly about it, I still feel really excited about it, I'm going to apply. That is still so much better than you just clicking apply in that very moment and saying, well, I might not get it. If I do get it, that's my decision made. There's nothing wrong with waiting. It's okay. A mentor once said to me, whether it is a project you have invented or whether it's something someone has asked you, it's good to write all those things down and to see, again, which ones kind of hold out over that waiting period, which ones are grounded and feel real, and which ones, were just really exciting ideas that you daydreamed about for that very moment. And I know my personality, I know what I'm like. I can see myself in so many different careers and fields. I'm really excited about so many simple things that if you presented me with an opportunity, I would get into my head like, yeah, of course I could do that. And that's not because I'm like arrogant or believe in myself or think I'm really smart. It's just like well, why would I feel like I, wouldn't enjoy that? Why would I feel like that's close to me? That would be an amazing life to live, and like, why not be excited about it? As romantic as that is, it leads me into such silly situations where I'm definitely spilling, but trying to spin 10 plates at once, which is just impossible. As well as having a wait period, there are definitely questions you can ask yourself, and that comes with better understanding your motivations, your drives, and what you have the capacity to do. And that can be, does this thing support my future career? Does this thing help me become the person I want to be? Does this thing come with pay? Really importantly, do I have time for this? This isn't something I have asked, but it would probably be helpful if you asked yourself, why do I want to do this? And if it's just, oh, it'll be fun, then maybe question it a bit more. Like, yes, so many things would be fun, but why? Why do you want to do this? What does it offer you? What is an intrinsic value it will give you that nothing else on your plate already offers you? And those are questions you can ask yourself internally. They're questions that you can, journal with, or they're questions you can, I guess, like, present to a friend. So my final tip is essentially, if you see something you really, really want to apply for or take up, or you have this idea, run it by a friend. Try and find a sensible friend, because I definitely have people who are so lovely that they just believe in your ability to do anything. And I love those people, but I don't want to go to them first, because if I do, it means I'm kind of cheating. It means I'm trying to get away with it. Go to your, sensible friend who you think of as okay, they'll know what to say. They're going to be level-headed. They might even be critical. Go to that person, whoever comes to mind. That's who you want to go to. And just say, I saw this thing, I'm thinking about applying to it. The first thing they might ask you is, do you have time for that? Like, you told me you're doing this, this, and this. Is that something you have time for? And have that discussion with them. Get somebody else to give you ideas, to help you think through it. If they say, oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like you, that sounds like the perfect opportunity for you, then at least you've kind of got this feedback that helps you know, or helps you think about, suitability, and whether it's impulsive or whether it really is this kind of big, amazing opportunity you have made it out to be. Although I really recommend talking to people to kind of help you find your feet about, whatever it is you're thinking of committing to, the end goal, and the end goal definitely for me, is to know what I really want to do and know what I really like. And I said it's not necessarily going to get psychological or self-help-esque, but I do know that deep down there is this slight confusion about all of these things and my identity in relation to them. As I said, I decided I wanted to study education before I was 18. I knew what I was interested in. I knew really early on, and I haven't shifted from that. And whilst I don't necessarily perceive that I'm going to, just shoot off and move into engineering, I do think that I have felt a lot of internal pressure to really lean into that identity and to do everything that comes up that's related to access to education, or everything that comes up that is related to, say, equity and diversity. It's really difficult when you have made yourself known for having those interests and having those goals, and when others can see that in you and therefore almost target you. That sounds really aggressive, but I mean, they say, I saw this and I thought of you, you should apply, you should this. It's really hard for the rational part of your brain that is aware of your timetable and your capacity to take over and say, that sounds amazing, but my plate is full. It's really hard. It's so hard, because you have created this perception of who you are and what you care about, and it is sometimes very natural to just want to feed into that. So whilst for now I will continue to wait before saying yes to things, I will continue to ask myself questions, to really dissect why it is I want to do things, and I'll maybe talk to a friend about that. I do hope that one day I have this strong gut instinct that just says, no, not right now, or yes, definitely, for these reasons. I want to get better at trusting myself and knowing myself, and valuing the small collection of things I do, that I do in the time I have, and I hopefully have time left over for me as well. So to end, just thank you so much for listening to this. It's definitely something my friends have had time and time again. So thank you for kind of joining that circle of people who have listened to my frustrations about overcommitting and overstretching myself. And if this is something you can relate to, please do, you know, take some of those things on board, but just where it feels possible, take the time to really step back, review how much you have on your plate, and yeah, ensure that you're not overwhelmed or burnt out or overworked, because yeah, it's just not where we want to be. It's not good for you. It's not the goal. So yeah, best of luck with it. I 100% understand how challenging it is to undo some of these learned things. But thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me be open and vulnerable. And yeah, do join the journey, subscribe, and come back for more next week.